This is today's live on Equa Television Internet. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for the small community. Months after months, people of the deaths of these people. They try to check for the roots of the problem. If they got stuck in the water was polluted, and that was how the people were taking that polluted water, and the pig and the piglets were removed, and then the water was restored. It became clean again, and the people like after lived happily, and then there was no sickness and all of that. Today on the program, we're going to be talking about making headway from 2022. Recall we were going to be looking at, good morning, Prudence.
Good morning, Joyce.
People just say, we lady, I was born and brought up coming to Just, and he was like, I was curious, and he said, cool.
Yes. Yes.
Thank God. Making headway from 2022. Like, you know, before the show, we were talking about how that some people are yet to be in 2023. And it's like, it will amaze some people, and you start asking the question, what do you mean by that?
I was actually joking about it when I was saying something like, it was early this week that I crossed over to 2023. I think I was still...
Please tell us why.
Let me see. I was just not feeling the new year yet. I felt like there were a lot of things that I needed to settle from the previous year. So that's why I jokingly said something like that. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of people are in that position. You're still dwelling in what happened in 2020, in the previous year, be it whatever year it is. When you're in a new year, some of us are still dwelling in what happened in 2020, in the year before that. And for instance, let's say you had a huge emotional struggle in 2022, and then now you're in 2023. Some people are still not moved on from that. They're still stuck in that situation. So that's where people can easily phrase like you're still in the previous year, because you're still stuck there. The emotions that were in the previous year, you're still carrying it to the new year, and it seems like there's no headway for you yet because you're still...
You know, we've always maintained that every day is like another opportunity to live again. That you're alive, you're sound, you're healthy. It means that God has something amazing for you in front of you. And then, like, I quite agree with you how that, yes, you crossed over from that 1st to 1st of January, and then, but you're still holding on to some pain, some bitterness and all of that, then it means you've not made headway. Because if we're talking about making headway from 2022, the word headway, like, it literally, it means like moving forward. To move forward, to make progress. You can also say when you make headway, it means you have made progress. So imagine that to some kind of resentment and all of that, it means that you have not moved forward.
And Joyce, sorry to cut you on that. It's interesting that you're not always stuck just on sad things or bad things or negative things that happen to you. Some people are still stuck in the joys that they got in the previous year. You're not moving forward. Okay, so you accomplished this, but then you're not foreseeing yourself accomplishing something greater in the next year. Instead, you're still stuck in the past glory. You're not moving forward. So that too is still part of not making headway.
That's very true, because some people just say, I've made it now. Like, I've made it. In 2022, this was what I wanted, this and that, and then I got it. So I'm just here to relax, nothing more. There's no plan, there's no, like, the desire to still, like, achieve more and all of that. Remember yesterday I said when God graciously gives you another opportunity, it's time for you to sit. At least it's good for you to retrospect, to reevaluate yourself, summarize it. How was 2022? What are my failures? What are my achievements? What about my acquaintances? Like, how has it been helpful to me? In what way can I improve and become better? So for you to make headway, you need to reevaluate yourself, like evaluate the past year as well. Like, don't hold on to your failures, but let it be a lesson. Like, the pain is part of our journey. You cannot control what lives bring. Like, you can't stop life from happening to you, but you can decide how you react to it. So we're talking about making headway because it's important that we move. It's important that we progress. When we progress, there will be achievement, those things that you have outlined as your resolutions, those things that you want the year to give it to you. Now, do well to drop your comments. We were so excited to know what you think about making headway from 2022. Have you started making headway from 2022, or you're still holding back to some bitterness? And you know, sometimes people will ask the question, is it even wrong for me to be bitter and all of that? Things happened that were unfair to you and you felt, I'm not happy about it. And once you say, I'm not happy, God has failed me and all, you're already giving room for bitterness. And you know, the funny thing is that, and it's sad, when you allow bitterness, it keeps you stuck and life keeps moving. And it means that you are just there. Remember the story of the prodigal son. Like when he came to his father and said that, well, he thinks he wants to be on his own, the father should just share the property and all of that. And the dad did, and he left. At some point, after squandering everything, he felt, why will I be sharing pig's food and all of that when my dad is still alive? My dad is still, even his servants are feeding well and all, and he decided to go back. And when the father saw him, he hugged him and he said that the father's cow should be killed, there should be party and all of that. But his older brother, who was working, had music and all of that. When he came, he said, what is happening? And he said, yes, your younger brother is back and your dad organized the party. And he called the father. He said he wanted to talk to him. He said, I've been here. I've been working for you. Like, and I look at what my younger brother did. I didn't even do the same thing. And yet you've never even killed like any goats for me. But this person that came and collected everything, like his share of property and left, and you're celebrating. The father told him not to worry. He should join in the party. But he got angry and then he didn't. Some people might say that is justifiable. But he held on to the anger. He didn't join the party, but hope you know the party continued.
Yeah.
So it is important that to know that when you hold to bitterness, when you hold to anger, when you hold on to your past mistake, when you hold on to what didn't work out, the medical report, the bad breaks, and then what a colleague said about you that was not true, and when you hold on to those things, it stops you from making headway. Some people resumed work, like, you know, after the festive season, people were given breaks, offices, organizations, and yeah, somebody made you angry before the office closed, and then you came back with that resentment, saying, I'm going to deal with this person. And just like the story I said from the beginning, the people began to fall sick because the pig and the piglet got stuck in the water. Now, their health was restored, like that was stopped when the pig was removed. Unless you remove that pain, the disappointment, unless you do away with the resentment, it means that you cannot move forward. So for you to make headway, you need to do away with, no matter how you think is justifiable. God has assured us of his promises, of his presence with us, and he's always there with us. There are things that might seem overwhelming and over you, but he's there to take away our burdens. So when somebody, for example, said something about you in 2022 that wasn't even true, instead of holding on to that pain, you can just, you know it's not true. There's somebody out up there that is watching that can vindicate you, that will sure vindicate you. Why not leave it to him to do the needful? But sometimes we just, this person and this person, my paths will never cross.
And Joyce, I have this motto that I'm not really sure if it is a good one, but for me it works. I have this motto that whatever happens has happened. So we continue living. Oh, so just last night after work, I went back home and then I got the news of somebody's death, passing. Somebody just died. And at that point, at first when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, that was so sad and all that. And I was disoriented for a few minutes, but then I just thought about, like, what's happened has happened. He's gone. We need to continue to live. We need to move on. And that's one character that I have, one attitude that I've tried to build over the years, especially in the previous year. A lot of things that I felt were not the right thing that should have happened to me, but I kept on telling myself, whatever has happened has happened. Okay, so maybe I would, at some point, I'll just check out. I'm like, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? How is it affecting my life now? Am I letting it drag me down? Am I letting it hold me back and all that? But then what I have for you watching us from wherever you are right now is that you don't let those kind of pains keep you stuck in the same position. So it's like a cloth. Yes, pain is hard to just, the cloth of pain is hard to just remove and drop, but then it is essential for you to do that if you want to move forward. And as I mentioned earlier, that there's sometimes that you have successes and you allow yourself to be stuck in that very small success that you've achieved. The truth of the matter is that success is the same as pain. Every form of emotion that you keep yourself stuck in, you stay there. You don't move forward. So you need to let things go and then make the ground fertile for growth. You need to pull out weeds from your life so that you would move forward. These weeds might just be a friend, or even the work, your career, your occupation, whatever it is. Sometimes those are the weeds you need to uproot so that you will move forward. If not, you'll just be stuck in one place. And you also mentioned you knowing that God is there, so there are certain things that you give him. So my dad has this motto. He says, whatever victories I've won, the glory belongs to God, so I don't get stuck there. I need to move forward and do greater things for him. So when you keep that as your motto, so be it pain, be it joys, be it whatever that comes your way, you would keep striving forward to give him that glory, not you that glory. So whether you're hurt by it at the end of the day, you know that at the end of the day, he's still the one that gets the glory, if anything good comes out of it. So those are certain things that we need to put in our minds if we really want to make headway, especially in this new year. You need to let the bad things go, or the past things. I prefer to use that because the past things could be good or bad. You need to let them go. You can't just continue to dwell in them. That's the truth of the matter. It's like a school that still dwells in their past glory and they are not seeing their faults that they are having right now. That school will just continue to deteriorate, and then the standard that people were seeing before will no longer be there. And then tomorrow you begin to hear stories about, and this school was a very good school, or it was promising, but because they failed to see that they were failing at some point, they stayed stuck in the past glory of the school. They won't move forward. And that's how it is with your life. You can't stay stuck wherever position you are. You need to keep your mind open and ready for growth.
That's very true. You know, some people just get satisfied, and I think that's why they don't make headway. Like beyond those that have bad breaks, those that have bad medical reports, that it didn't work out how they wanted it, lost relationships and all of that, there are people that are satisfied with their achievements. Like you talk about, let me use the school for example, like a school newly open in a location, and then everybody is talking about this particular school and how the standard is good and all of that, and you just become proud of yourself. And nothing wrong with being proud of yourself anyway.
True.
But by the time you don't think of progressing and you don't think of doing more, then it becomes a problem. And then the school just starts bragging around and yes, we are this, we are that, not thinking of how to move forward. And other people are picking the challenge and they are working so hard to like even overcome where you actually are. At the end of the day, you see that the name start dying down, and then another takes over. Same with organizations, companies, and all of that. If you don't strive to be better, then you remain where you are, and others will definitely like overcome where you actually have positioned yourself. So it is important that we are deliberate. We talk about how that even if you set goals for yourself, which is not wrong, or resolutions or whatever, if there's no deliberate effort like strategizing, coming up with specific plans that are going to meet up with those goals, then year in, year out, you just continue writing and nothing is going to work out for you. So imagine how powerful words are, and then you align them to what God is saying concerning you. You know that definitely you're going to, like, your headway is going to be, is something that, like, people will see and definitely glorify God. So, like I'll always say, every day is another opportunity to do better. Like, every day, find it an opportunity to be a better version of you. So don't let disappointments, don't let failures, don't let things that didn't work out to hold you down. Think, always think. It didn't happen. You have another opportunity to start all over again. I recall how Sambo Solomon was talking about the fact that, there are people that actually have been striving, they have been doing the right thing, they refuse to tour the bad path, and then yet things didn't work out. God is ahead of us already, and his plans for us are perfect. He called us prosperous, blessed, and his chosen ones. So the fact that those challenges come your way, it means that you have the capacity to be able to deal with that challenge. Don't feel it's because I'm not wanted, it's because I'm not needed. Do you know there are people that are holding on to past pain, like pain of 12 years ago, 30 years ago? There are people that are angry with their parents. Like, you grew up, they didn't do certain things for you, and then you remain where you are. Each time other people are talking, you blame your parents for where you are. Like, you keep blaming your parents and all of that. Like I said, even if it's justifiable, but you also have to make effort for you to make headways. They didn't do, and you're in a position to do something for yourself. Why not do it? You're in the office, somebody said something about you that is not true. Don't hold on to that. It's going to affect your joy. It's going to affect your relationship with other people. Do you know there are people that don't trust people just because of their experiences with others? There are people that will tell you, I won't go, relationship doesn't work for me. Why? Because of an experience with one person. And they will say, it doesn't work for me. So they don't want to engage in that. When they see people, even if they are happy, they just frown their face. And that's how I want it to be. This year like this, I'm just on my own. Nobody should cross my path and all, because of past experience. Do away with it. It has happened. It has happened. If there's nothing you can do about it, ignore it. Let your gaze be ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, the interesting thing about this whole making headway, as connecting to what we were talking about yesterday, New Year resolutions and all that. You make New Year resolutions, but if you haven't let go of what was before, you won't go anywhere. You have to let go of. If for instance you had failed in the previous year, and your New Year resolution is that you want to succeed in the same thing, maybe, and then you still keep on saying, and I failed last year, and you don't change that mindset, you're going to just not accomplish it. You're still going to fail again. But then you need to approach your resolutions. You need to approach them with more confidence. You need to approach them with more sincerity, so that you let those things go. Let them go. Remove the baggage, so that it will be a clean slate, so that it will be a clean page. Like when you clean a board and everything is neat, you need to write something clean on it, or clean sheet. Let your life be like that again, and then you continue to move forward. Wipe out those pains. It's not easy. I know that a lot of us are just sitting at home wondering, what are these people talking about? All these skills they're talking about is not possible.
We all have our share of pains.
But it's hard. It's not an easy something that you just let go of pains, or you let go of joys that you were stuck in. It's not easy to let go. But then you continue to strive hard gradually. Yesterday I pointed out that you take one step after another. For every single thing you're doing is small steps. You don't just rush into it and think that you just do it one time. No, everything has to take everything is a process. You have to take step by step. As Sambo Solomon was saying, I think if I remember clearly, he was talking about, was he him or I heard it somewhere else? The person was talking about creation. I think it was Sambo Solomon. Creation. God created the earth in 7 days, taking his time, telling you that there's process. You have to take it one step at a time. So that's how life is. When God was doing that creation process, he was just telling us that every single thing we're doing in life requires a process. So you have to take your time. For you to make headway, you need to know that everything you're going to put your hands to is a process. So you have to take it step by step, one step after another, getting small victories, larger victories, failures. They will all be on. There are hurdles too that you have to pass. There are just a whole lot of things in this process, and then you have to follow through those processes. Last year, if I remember correctly, the general manager was talking about how some people try to overtake. And if you're trying to overtake, sometimes you wouldn't make headway as well. You might make headway like in quotes, but then most of the times you just end up having a whole bad result at the end of the day. But the good thing is that you have to take process. You make sure that you're making it one step at a time, and that's when you make the best headway possible. And also remember that when you're taking this process, so don't forget that it's God.
Definitely.
As you always say, heaven is the goal.
The goal is heaven. You know, but like life is just too short to live offended, thinking of what didn't work out. Yeah, 2022 was not, like people say, it wasn't for me. It was a bad year. Some people will say that it was a bad year. Like maybe you're mourning the loss of a loved one, like you lost a job and all of that. It's important to know that God has amazing plans for you. I heard of a story of a young lady who was doing very well in her organization. And then while she was working, everybody was praising her and all. So a colleague got envious of her, and then she decided to like form a story about her just to like change that narrative of her being a dedicated staff. And the organization believed and sacked her. She was hurt, like she was sharing that experience. She said she was so hurt about it, but God had a bigger plan for her. Like it wasn't even for her to get another job in another company, but for her to become a coach that would transform minds of people. And eventually she started, like she cried and all, because like nobody wanted to listen to her own part of the story. They just believed what was said about her. But she didn't hold on to that. She decided to start reading more, like dedicating her time to becoming better version of herself. Eventually she started talking to people, like writing books, organizing seminar. In fact, the last one she did was in Dubai. Like she's a well-known coach, like transformational coach, mind coach. Like people talk about her, and people have been testifying of how that she has been so helpful to them. So sometimes things happen to us, or things that we expect didn't work out, and we just believe that God doesn't answer prayer, and we allow bitterness to overwhelm and take over us. But when you remember that, and you know that God's words and plans for you are for good and not for evil, even in such difficult circumstances, you know that he can always come true for you. Like we're talking about the fact that some might say, what are you saying? Do you know my situation? Is your situation above Job's situation? Like, but God still showed up for him. Think about how that everybody would desert you. You just wake up one day and lose everything that you had, and he still held on to God. And like God was not unaware of what the devil was planning to do. In fact, even like Jesus, after fasting for 40 days, 40 nights, what happened to him? Immediately he faced his own like challenge, trials, temptation came his way. But did he allow it to overwhelm him? Did he dwell on, oh, imagine that after fasting, look at what is happening to me? Sometimes we need to let go of this pain so that we will allow the joy of the Lord to occupy us and become our strength. Like, life is too short for us to live in pain and in bitterness, in resentment, in unforgiveness. Who gave you the assurance that tomorrow is going to be yours, or you're going to be alive tomorrow? The rich man in the Bible, after harvesting his crop and then putting it in the room, he looked at it and said, oh, now I can marry. But when God looked at him, he said, you fool, today I'm going to take your life. You get? And that was how everything ended. So if we live with the consciousness that life is too short for us to live offended, thinking of what doesn't work out for us, then we're going to guard our heart with all diligence. And everything that didn't work out, we know that tomorrow is an opportunity to start over again. In 2022, you were hoping and trusting God for a good job. But the job you had as at 2022, how diligent were you in it? You get? Sometimes we have expectations, and then the little that God has bestowed in our hands, we're not really utilizing it. Look at the one with 1 talent. The one with 5 utilized it, was productive. The one with 2, same. The one with 1 buried it. What happened to him? God collected it and gave it to the others that utilized theirs. So if you're trusting God to make headway, like you can't even do it on your own, you want to make headway in 2023 from 2022, then you have to do the right thing. Whatever you're trusting God for, ensure that you're diligent with the one. Sometimes it might be testing, that for God to allow you to be where you are at the moment, he wants to see how you're going to handle the bigger one. That, like, so with the little you have, how well are you actually doing it or handling it, that you're expecting that God should trust you with a bigger one. So we need to understand that beyond our expectations, we too have our role to play. So you can't just sit and just expect to make headway, to move forward, to progress. You need to be deliberate about knowing who you are, your purpose, being diligent, being specific about goals, and then ensuring you work hard towards achieving that. And I know when you do that, eventually things are going to work out for you. You will make headway. So whether in 2022 things work out for you, you shouldn't sleep. Think of making headway. You got the car you wanted, you built the house you wanted, you got the wife you wanted, you got the perfect job you wanted, and all of that. Don't relent. Work hard in making headway in 2023. And if for you, you had been working hard and things didn't work out in 2022, 2023 is another opportunity
for you too.
So keep pushing. Trust yourself. I said it, don't wait for people to motivate you. People get easily frustrated and depressed because they are waiting for somebody to say, you're doing well, oh, you can do this. You motivate yourself, push yourself. Every day when you wake up, how can I be better? When you do that, eventually you're going to make headway.
And away from this a little bit, one of my favorite passages in the Bible is that said, whatever is pure, whatever is diligent, and you remember it's a whole lot of good things that were listed there, honorable and all that. You should think on those things. So when you want to make headway, I think that's one way to do that. You need to focus on the honorable things, the noble things that are you can foresee, or even when you can't foresee them. That's when faith comes in, and hope and all that. But then you want to make headway, you have to fix your eyes on these goals, on the noble things, the positive things. Sometimes you need to fix them on positive things in your mind so that you will not let the negative. I keep on saying this thing, I think I've said it in a number of episodes on today's live, that negativities can hold you back big time. It's a stronghold that would force you not to succeed. And a lot of us have been in that position before. You've belittled yourself. You've told yourself you can't do this, maybe because of something that happened in the previous year. You can't. Some of us say you're not worth it. You can't do this. You're not. You don't have the courage to do this. You're not equipped to do this. But the truth is that you can do anything that you set your mind to do if you have God. So for you to make headways, I think you should make this your motto. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
That's very true.
For you to make headway in 2023, you need to put that in mind. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Okay, so I've had this fear because this year in Nigeria we're going to be having an election, so I'm kind of scared of the election process. But then I begin to think, shit, let me use pigeon. Shebi, I get gold. Why would the fact that 3 candidates are vying for one position, and I know that there's a possibility of it being chaotic, but that doesn't mean that will be the end of my life. I need to make headway from that kind of thought as well. You need to make headway and think, oh, okay, so regardless what happens, what the outcome of 2023 elections will be, what has happened in the previous years building up to the 2023 election, regardless what has happened, I need to look forward and know that I have a God that is going to do this for us. He's going to take control of the situation because he has always done it. Yeah. So we need, each and every one of us need to have that mentality when we're approaching certain things, and that's one way also to get ahead in this, to make headways in 2023. You know, to focus more on the God that is able and capable of doing anything. Because if you focus more on Him, then you're going to be able to do anything as well, and you won't be stuck in one position, because you already know that you have somebody that's holding your hands, so that you walk together with Him. If not, you're going to have a huge problem.
And you know, Prudence, one of the constraints to making headway is fear.
Yes.
A lot of people want to make headway, they want to move forward, but they're scared of trying something new. Like you're scared of doing something. Maybe it's a business that you need to start, but you're scared. You've already thought of the risks, and then you're just scared. I would lose, I would do this, and you just feel it's better you remain stuck where you are than for you to try something new. And when you allow fear to occupy your mind, then there's no way you make headway. Even if you are expecting, like, you have a lot of expectation, there are things you want to come out and then work for you. If you allow fear to occupy your mind, then there's no way you will make headway. You know, earlier we were talking about the fact that it's not going to be easy to just let go of pain, resentment, and all of that bitterness. Yeah, you imagine losing a loved one, and then, yes, life will go on. But somebody will keep, like, when you keep living in that pain, it will be difficult for you to make headway. Like, God gave and He took. He knows the reason why He allowed that to happen to you. And His word says He will never leave us nor forsake us. So sometimes when it feels heavy for you, what you do, you go back to the King of Kings, the one that says, I'll always be there for you, even in terms of trouble, in your darkest time. Like, I'll be there for you. So why not channel your your pain to Him who is able to take it away? So it might seem so heavy for you to bear. You might be thinking there's no way I can move forward. Like you hear people say, like, I'm finished. My mom is gone, I'm finished. My dad is no more, I'm finished. My husband, I just lost my husband, I'm finished. My wife is everything to me, I'm finished. In fact, you even hear people who say, hey, they will even like say that because he lost his wife, this man is doomed and all of that. So when our minds are occupied with negative thoughts, it will be difficult for us to pull out and even move ahead. So check out, always think, like, what are the things that you always say to yourself? I said words are powerful, but when you align those powerful words, positive words, with what God says about you, then you can't imagine the level of success and progress you're going to make if you always say positive things to yourself. But when you occupy your mind with negative thoughts, with negative words, you always say to yourself, I cannot do it, I'm a slow learner, I'm this, I'm that, like me, I'm just here to escort people, I can't make it in life, anything I put my hand, that people tell themselves that anything they put their hand doesn't work. Like, imagine you saying that. So if you have that mentality, that's how it's going to remain for you. But when a task is given or there's an expectation, you tell yourself, I can do this thing through Christ who strengthens me. Yes, on my own knowledge, I cannot. I might fail myself. But I have somebody that called me prosperous, that says I'm blessed, that says I'm favored. So it means if I'm blessed, anything I put my hands on should be blessed.
Yes.
So you have to, change begins from the mind. The ability to move forward and make headway, it starts from the mind. What are you telling yourself? What didn't work out in 2022? Do you think that if you try it will still not work out? Because some people say, something that we did last year, we did and it failed, and you think we'll do it and it will not work. There are people, you hear them say, if it's this thing, just leave it, will not work. You get? And that is how you keep living where you are. So for you to make progress, you must check yourself. What are you saying to yourself? What are the things that are in your mind? Are you aligning yourself to the word of God? You say you're a child of God, you believe in the word, but you're always picking contrary word to what God says about you. And it means you can't move forward. So it's very important for us to always say things that are positive. Yes, it will take discipline for you to let go of things that didn't work out. Shake off the dust. Don't allow the medical reports weigh you down. Like, you have a story was told of a pastor who was working under a denomination, and again he had a child, like a special child. So he started preaching about faith, healings, like he believed in the word of God, that yeah, God can heal, God can. So he was his messages were more like about faith, healings, and all of that. So the like his heads and others got angry with him and all of that. Before that, people started leaving the church, and he was actually sent out. Eventually he started his own ministry, and when he started his ministry, it was something God wanted him to do, but he didn't see that coming. And then imagine that when that happened to him, it weighed him down, and he felt there was no God. God allowed this thing to happen. It was your work I'm doing, and then you allowed this to happen to me. No, I think I should just turn my back against God and then go and hold on to another religion. But he persevered. People didn't understand his point of view, where the inspiration came out for why he was doing what he was doing. But he just felt based on existing doctrine and all of that, and that was how he was punished. But he held on to the faith. He continued like the teaching. Eventually he had God sent like people to him, and he kept preaching to them. Like he at the end he got a congregation that was like even more than where he. Sometimes if it doesn't work out, don't think as if God doesn't like you, or is not in your situation, or is only in your neighbor's family, is not in your own family. There's something amazing that he's like is waiting for you in front, or he has in stock for you. If it doesn't work out, start all over again. Start again. You made up plans in 2023, it didn't work. You have another opportunity to do it again. But make sure that whatever you're doing, you align it to God's will. And eventually, like, it's going to work out. So like I've been saying, and I'll continue to say, one of the things that make us not to make headway is because we always hold on to past pain. Don't waste your valuable energy, the energy that you need for your dreams to come to pass by focusing on what didn't work out. You can make headway if it didn't work out by focusing on your strengths. If somebody did you wrong, don't hold on to that. God will definitely vindicate you. Commit it to him at his own time. He knows what to do and how to handle the situation.
And so I came across this story. It's just building on the points that we made, that he would never leave us or forsake us. So I came across this story about a man who was walking with Jesus. Jesus was holding his hand. So he was seeing 4 footprints as he was walking. But along the way, he began to see just 2 footprints. That's one person's footprints. And he began to complain, had issues, but then regardless, he still continued to push forward. And then when he finally reached the point where he needed to be at, he was told that at some point he gasped out. So that footprint that he was seeing was that of God, because God was holding him to carry him through across to get him to that point that he needed to be at. And that's what happens to a lot of us. When you begin to walk with God, or when you're beginning to do something for God and with God, you begin to become discouraged at some points, because there are some things that you just don't understand why they're happening the way they are. But then he always gives us way to go forward. He's always there. See, even if it doesn't seem like he's there, he's there. Maybe what you just need at that point is a push, and he's there giving you that push. So we just need to always remember that to make headway, we need to focus on the fact that we have a God who is always there. I think that's the most important thing for you to make headway in any situation, be it a happy situation, a sad situation, whatever comes your way. You need to focus on the fact that you have a God that is there. Always remember that he did say he sent his son, who is Emmanuel, God with us. So if he says he sent somebody, and he said it himself, he said he is Emmanuel, God with us. That means, what else do I need?
You just need the presence of God.
Exactly.
You have his presence.
So even when it seems like nothing is working out, just always remember that you have a God who is there, because he's always going to be there for you. Even his son, he didn't leave him. Even when he sent his son to do the most gruesome task ever made for you, that alone should remind you that you have somebody that is trustworthy, that you can just put your trust in him and just relax, because you know that things would work out well at the end of the day. Relax, I didn't mean you should not work. Please don't misquote me. I just meant relax because you have confidence that there's somebody that is working with you.
People go through emotional stress. You know how people go through emotional stress because things didn't work out?
Yes.
Like, you keep thinking about what didn't work out, forgetting like that energy can be channeled on, okay, what's the way out? Like, there are times that, okay, when something happened and then I hear people just, you would have done this, you're the one that caused this. Like, sometimes I just, what can we do, like, to correct what has happened? Can we talk about what we can do? Why are we dwelling on it was you that caused it? We would have done it. Has happened already. God promised us he promised to give us his grace for every season. So whether things are hard, he promised us his grace. Things are working out, he promised us his grace. So don't think because of the challenges, because of the pain, like God is not there with you. They are just there to make you strong. There's something he wants to bring out in you. He knows that you're capable of that. That is why he allowed it to come your way. So God is in control. He's in control. All we need is his presence always. And he has promised us that the only thing that separates us from God is our sin. And then, like I said, the journey is not without all these trials and temptation. But when you fall, rise again. We fall 7 times, we rise again. Look at the life of David. Anytime he sins, he goes to his closet with broken heart, he prays to God, and God called him at the end of the day a man after my heart. Was he a perfect being? No, he wasn't. We saw how he slept with Bathsheba. He did a lot of things, but God still called him the man after my heart. And that's why I always say that God did not make anybody a judge. Don't see people and just judge them. Encounters are personal. When God arrested Saul and he became Paul, it was personal. So you would not know. Don't see people from far and start judging them. You are not God. God has promised his grace. The access that we all have access to him. So you cannot say that this person is already condemned person and all of that. His grace is with us. If it didn't work out, don't give up on yourself. Because you can't expect people to have hope in you when you have given up on yourself. You cannot expect things to work out for you if you have called yourself names and think that nothing good can come out of you. And we hear parents who say this to their children, that look at you, your mates are here, your mates are there, your mates are here, and your mates are there. These are not kind words that we should be saying, but we should encourage people around us. That's not to say that because I'm just supposed to push myself, if you're around me, you should not at least encourage me to do well. So when God gives you opportunity to talk to people, encourage them. You can also be the push they need, but just know that the most motivation you need is you. So believe in yourself, push yourself, and that which you want to attain, that progress you want to make, you will definitely attain it at the end of the day. Our time is fast spent, but I know my PK sister has something to say before we go.
Okay, so it's just what you were saying, just to build up from what you were saying. When God kept us in this earth, he didn't leave us isolated. You're not alone. So if you're pushing yourself, I think it's essential for you to also hold the hands of others that are around you, so that you pull them along. So if you are given the opportunity to pull somebody along, please do it. But remember, to make headways in this year, you need to let go of negativities. Let go of envy, let go of gossip, let go of slander, let go of all those negative things, and you would push forward ahead. And also remember that you need to walk with that God who has promised to always be there for us, and he's going to provide our needs according to his riches and glory. He's going to give us strength when we need it. He's going to, oh my God, the promises are so much.
Like, so much promises.
Yes, so we need to dwell on those promises as we're walking through the year. And I believe that when we do that, you're going to make awesome headway this year.
I think it's also important that people know that the pain you go through, the disappointment, is just temporal. It's just temporal. He promised us his grace in all seasons. And just because you've been through a lot doesn't mean that you will not win again. So know that the enemy doesn't have the final say. God does. So his words for us is, we are blessed, we are prosperous, we are favored, we are the chosen ones. So if we are, his words stand. So it's good that we start dreaming again. we start thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And then when we start working towards that, we're definitely going to make headway. We don't have guarantee for tomorrow. Life is too short. We live like every opportunity God gives us. Let's use it to glorify his name. And when we do that, we align our purposes, our goals to what God has said about us. Definitely we're going to make headway. Thank you for doing this with us. We really appreciate you. And we say keep a date with all programs on Equa Television International until you come your way tomorrow, same time, same day, same station. Thank you, Prudence, for doing this with me. Our editor, Victor Bandi, thank you so much. Obasi, thank you at the MCR. Martha Isa behind the camera. And Ruth, thank you so much. Desmond at the audio table, thank you so much. Until come your way tomorrow. See you. Bye-bye.